I go back to look at the Pharaohs in the allegory. Because when we're talking about in the beginning of the world, when we're talking about the next world and afterworld, we're not talking about human consciousness, human experiences. We're talking about the belief concept that African people put down long before there was this Adam and Eve and this book of Genesis. Thus it's necessary for me to go back and show people that long before Moses supposed to have gone to Mount Sinai, Pharaoh Amenhotep IV, otherwise known as Akhenaten, had already taught about nonviolence. He got rid of his army, had his cousin Semenkari to come and rule on the throne simultaneously with him, only one at a time in human history. That's why it's so important to know your ancient background. Only one at a time in human history that two men rule the same country simultaneously. And that was when Kwame Nkrumah sat on the throne, sat at the throne of Guinea simultaneously with Sekou Touré. When Nkrumah was overthrown in Ghana, Sekou Touré brought Nkrumah to rule, help him to rule Guinea. Before that, it was Akhenaten and his cousin Semenkari. The Akhenaten who preach the Trinity of God. You heard what I'm saying? And there was no Jesus yet. Akhenaten died in 1359 BC. The Jesus, the Christ, supposed to have been born only 1985 years ago. Akhenaten is at least, at minimum, he died 1359 years before Jesus the Christ. And by the way, I said Jesus the Christ, you may not know it that way. You talk about Jesus Christ as if Christ is a last name. Joshua Christus was the Greek names for that. Christus, translated into English, means the Christ, the anointed one. That's all it means. Nothing sacred. As a matter of fact, people didn't worship Jesus until the conference of Antioch. They worshiped the womb, the heaven from whence he came. The early people who later were called Christians at the Council of Nicaea in 212 years after he's supposed to have been dead. They worshiped him suddenly. But before that, they worshiped his mama. They worshiped the womb from where he came, heaven. The Roman Catholics still continue, Holy Mary, Mother of God, blessed are the fruit of your womb, Jesus. Hey, Jesus, they worship. But black men follow those Europeans, sick Europeans. They couldn't worship the black woman's vagina no more, where they came from, where their daddy deposited them as a sperm. They couldn't because European is sick and can't worship his woman, since sex is dirty, according to European thinking. They couldn't worship like the African man worship his goddesses. When you go in the temple of Hathor at a place called Dendera, any one of you who've been there know it pretty well. And you look up in the ceiling, you see they showed the African woman not only giving birth to her child, giving birth to the goddesses, but they show that African woman even giving birth to the sun, the S-U-N, the son of the sun. You see the sun in the morning coming out of the vagina of that African woman, the goddess Nut, with its rays giving light to the world. And in the night, they show the sun coming back through her mouth, the constant rotation of the sun symbolized. And then they show a little tree, which the Jews later called forbidden fruit tree. It had nothing to do with no damn forbidden fruit. It was a twig of life, the tree of life. And they show Goddess Hathor smiling about what had been happening. The woman, the African woman, giving birth to the sun, giving birth to life. Huh? But that's why I go back to the Nile. And that's why those people who are trying to carry Europeans to the Nile, there wasn't even no Greeks when I'm talking about. They didn't, one European wasn't in existence in history yet, not a single one. The first European to write anything down wasn't in existence. And talk about Homer, because any one of you went to college and got your PhDs and you're all out of D's, know damn well, and walking around with your Bappa Lappa sign, the Alpha, Omega, and all kind of junk. Talking about sorority and fraternity. The Greeks want a damn thing until the Africans had to wipe the shit from their behind and show them how to wear drawers. So what are you going to tell me? That's why I go to the Nile all the time, to remind myself. See, that's why people say, how you don't give up? Because why should I give up? It's too good. I'm not drunk off cocaine. I'm not drunk off, and that's another thing going to tell me about ganja make you think right. How you going to think right when your mind busted? I don't need that. I get drunk off my history. I get drunk off my past. Because, right. But if you never had a black sister, try one. It's good for your health. Try one. Try a few. I told my daddy one time, Dad, I know something better than a black woman. And Daddy said, what is it, boy? What is it? Because Daddy thought that he had done had mama. He had had it. And I said, I know something better than mama. And my daddy said, tell me quick, boy. I said, Daddy, 2 mamas. 2. 2 black women is always better than 1 black woman. And 3 is better than 2. You see, that's the only thing better than black woman. Black woman is God. If you're looking for God, look for your mama. And if mama is dead, look for your woman. Because that woman like mama. That's what God is, between her legs in that fallopian tube. And you better don't forget it. I know you're mad because you can't, especially sisters are mad. Sisters are mad because they know they're cursed by God. They know Eve was cursed by God because a stupid fool named Adam sitting there, he's supposed to go to her and start the damn thing. She got to come to that damn fool, doing nothing and got the proper ammunition, and got to tell him, Adam, look what the snake is doing. And God cursed Eve for doing the right thing. Eve got to show this man, a fool, what he was created for. Got a penis. She got a vagina. What do you think they got both of these things for? Huh? Oh, yeah, you call it bastard because Adam and Eve hook up and didn't have a marriage license. You know, they didn't have any marriage license. There was no city hall. You can't show me no license with God's signature on it for Adam and Eve to get married. They went on down and got that thing going. So according to you, they had an illegitimate child. Illegal child. They had a bastard. Well, they didn't do no different than Jesus. Mary wasn't married to the angel. She wasn't married to Joseph. And she had a child named Jesus. He had to be illegitimate then. He was a bastard. His daddy, whether it was God himself, wasn't married to his mama, based upon the way you all been talking. So I go to the Nile Valley to find out, is there something illegitimate about that? And I can't find anything illegitimate, because in those days, the marriage said, they exchange a piece of thing by value in the presence of witnesses, and that was a marriage. They came and reported that they were married to the church, or the synagogue, or the temple. That was the marriage. It wasn't made in heaven. It was made right there on earth. So I have to go back constantly to deal with this, to deal with not only these fundamentals, but the ancient Egyptians reminded me of that, the fact that they were African. They left no doubt in my mind for those who claim in Egypt, because they wrote in their papyrus the word that we call paper now, which the Greeks call papyrus, from the papyrus plant, which grows in only 3 places in the world: Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan. And they wrote on there, we, quoting from the Nebuchadnezzar, which you call hieroglyphs, we came from the beginning of the Nile, where God, happy, Hapi, dwells, at the foothill of the mountain of the moon. Now let us see where they said they originally came from. The beginning of the Nile. Two places. Ethiopia, the Blue Nile. Uganda, the White Nile. Both of those bodies of waters join in Khartoum in Sudan. Run further down north. Only major running from the south to the north. And then they join with a body of water called the Atbara out of Ethiopia at a place called Atbara in Sudan, and then continue into the Great Sea now called the Mediterranean. At the Mountain of the Moon, there are two places called Mountain of the Moon in Africa. Kilimanjaro means Mountain of the Moon. And Rwenzori, Kilimanjaro between Uganda and Kenya. Tanganyika and Kenya. Rwenzori in Uganda. So the ancient Egyptians told us we came from Central East Africa. Regardless of who write, I had to go back to look at Donald Robinson and to look at Edmund Harris, and to look at all of these fellows who are now writing their nonsense. Once these Europeans who are now writing that the European now came from Africa, no more from the Caucasus Mountains. Because they ain't find nothing there old enough to write about. Who said now that the Europeans are from Africa, but they were in Africa before, 25,000 years before those people called Africans. When I went to school, they told me that the Europeans came from the Caucasus Mountains. Why don't they go back to the Caucasus Mountains and leave everybody else in this world alone so they can starve again? And that's why I go back to Egypt, to reassure myself and to let my brothers know and let them see, and my sisters, where it all came from. Where education, I carried them at the Grand Lodge of Saqqara. I carried them to the oldest known concrete building, stone building ever designed, ever built by man. And when you go there today, it looks as modern as anything you could show anywhere in the world. Go and see it. Don't go with me. Go by yourself. Go with somebody else. Don't give a damn who you go with. Because it's not going to change regardless of who you go there with. And you go in there and see the fluted columns. You go in there and you see the step pyramid of Saqqara. You go there and you see the 92 feet deep in the earth where the African man had already dug tunnels from one pyramid to the next, 92 feet deep. I go to see what my ancestors. So when you telling my child, as the counselor, my child can't do mathematics, it's hard. Huh? Don't know science, can't deal with science, can't deal with chemistry. I go there to find out how the hell we dealt with it before a single European was in a single school. When the Greeks came to us to learn, if we could do that and teach Greeks and other Europeans, the Etruscans, otherwise called Romans later, if we could teach the Babylonians and others how to do these things, how come we can't do it today? How come my child is telling me he only could do social work? Can't do mathematics, could play basketball, baseball, football, but can't do mathematics? And when he played basketball, football, and whatever other ball, the money goes to white women anyhow. Well, and we stand there and accept this nonsensical garbage that our child, we can't do it. And we tell our children, well, why don't you take a course that you can do? Any course he could do, or she can do. Our ancestors started mathematics and science. I go back to look at it, to look at the stone in the pyramid where your Bible lied and say that some people call Jews or Israelites build only one, I want them to show me, of those 72 pyramids of Egypt. I want them to show me one of the 62 pyramids of Sudan, one of the 8 pyramids of Ethiopia, that a single Jew built or a million Jew built? Show me one, not 10. The last of the major pyramids of Egypt was built in the 6th dynasty. The first Jew, Abraham, wasn't born until the 13th dynasty. Now, how the hell you going to build something before you got born? And I carry my people to see it. Carry them, go up in the tomb. I can't go no more. My foot don't hold up there no more. I'm not lying. I'm an old man. I'm not a senior citizen. I'm just old. I don't want nobody call me no damn senior citizen. I've never been a junior citizen, so how the hell am I going to be a senior citizen? I'm no citizen. I'm going to be a citizen under a cracker. No way. See? I go there and I show the sisters and brothers, and look at these monstrous stones. You notice what a pyramid is built? Look at it good. Put your eyeball right up against the stone. And if you show me a brick made of any material, much less mud and straw, I mean, you know when you talk about the pyramid of Giza, you're talking about the one of Khufu, which the Greeks later called Cheops. You're talking about a building 48 stories high, 3.5 city block wide, over 600 feet wide and long. Do you know what you're talking about? You're talking from 125th Street, okay? From Lenox Avenue to 7th to 8th to St. Nicholas. Going back up. From 125th Street and St. Nicholas, that's up there, up to the church, that Methodist church up there on 125th Street. Square, that's where you got to walk around to go around that pyramid. And you're talking about going up the Woolworth building is 47 or 48 stories. It's the height of the wool. That's above the ground. Now we got going down in the earth. 3.5 stories going down in the earth. That's the building you're talking about. And you think any kind of brick made from straw, we're going to carry that load? Monstrous stones brought there by your ancestors on boats in the inundation period, when the farmers couldn't work because of the flooding. They then went and quarried and brought the stones on the boats. And some damn nonsense about Jewish slaves. How the hell they need slaves when they got 350,000, 450,000 farmers not doing anything? You don't need no slaves. You don't need Charleston Heston. That's why I go back to look at these things for myself, to make sure that nobody jive me. How come they take you to Mecca, they take you to Palace, to Jerusalem, they take you to Bethlehem? How come they don't take you what belongs to you? Strange. Everywhere they take you but your home, your homeland, your motherland, your heaven. The next heaven you got is Africa. That's your first heaven. But I keep going because I understand. That's why each time I go and return, I'm rejuvenated. Just being there. Just looking at what my ancestors, and unfortunately, your ancestors, you don't know it. You look in the mirror all the time and think that you are Blackfoot Indian, a Crow Indian, a Goosemouth Indian, any kind of an Indian. That's all right if you got that too, because you ought to have to go hide the Indians, and I know what happened. But what happened to the part that they see most? The part you call nigger. You disrespect yourself and call each other nigger. I go there so I don't call nobody nigger. How could I call a person a nigger when all that I'm talking about, and I ain't touched the surface yet, did all these things? How am I going to call you a nigger? There's no way in the world I'm going to call my brother and my sister and my heaven nigger. I know better than that. And the only reason I don't is each time I go back to the motherland and go along the Nile to look at where all of these things coming from, my whole thought process, my knowledge of being, when I go and find out and read the medical papers left 2,000-3,000 years before the birth of Hippocrates, who comes to Egypt to learn medicine only to go back to be the father of it. And I go and read the Kahun, what they call, listen to the names they give it, the Kahun medical paper, the Rockefeller medical paper. Where did Calhoun and Rockefeller get a medical paper from? They're the thieves that brought them to the museums. When you go down to the museum in Brooklyn, the Brooklyn Museum, and you see the Edwin C. Smith papyrus, you know what it's dealing with? 1550 BC. It's dealing with spinal injury of the women. Spinal. Already they had disciplined medicine to the point that they broke it down into areas. You look at the Ebers papyrus dealing with reproduction. That's pregnant. This is gynecology in 1555 BC. Gynecology dealing with Planned Parenthood. How to have your sex but still not be pregnant. 1555 BC. And that's attributed to Queen Hatshepsut, Makari Hatshepsut. And she ruled Egypt back in the 18th dynasty. Not only did she rule Egypt, but this was the woman that drove out the last of the first foreign invaders of Africa, the Hyksos. Makari Hatshepsut, a woman who ruled both as a queen and as a king simultaneously. Don't get her wrong. She was no lesbian. She was no butch. She had 2 babies. You don't get them butching. That's clear all the time. But her scientist, she knew that she had to be the head of state, and she didn't want to be constantly being disrupted by getting pregnant because she didn't want no grand prize by it. But she at the same time knew that she wanted her baby, but she spaced them. That's the difference between Planned Parenthood. You brothers going around hollering, man, that sister killing everything. That sister committing genocide, man. That sister using all that kind of protection. Let's get this straight, brothers. If the sister get the baby, you ain't gonna support it. Huh? So why should she keep getting baby and your ass running all over the place, leaving her there? Every time you look around, you look like the virgin somebody. She had a baby all by herself, ain't no daddy. She said, I missed my period. And from the time you said that you gone to China, she don't see you again. You don't see you. When the baby is 30 years old, you come and say, hey, my child. The hell she gonna keep getting children? No, Planned Parenthood is different than what I call birth control. Birth control is when somebody tell you how many children you could have. You got nothing to do with it. That's birth control. Birth control is when that black sister go up there and some worthless doctor decide to sterilize her without asking a question. That's birth control. But Planned Parenthood is when she and her man get there and say, let us use a method whereby we could have children as we can afford them. Why have black brothers and sisters going around here like I've seen some brothers and sisters going 2 o'clock in the morning, a 12-year-old girl in the street with nobody. Don't tell me you know where your dog at and you don't know where your daughter at. That's why I go back there to the Nile to look at those readings, to look at what they're talking about, the relationship of man, woman, and child. Yeah, way back there in those days. You look at the Nedunecha, the hieratic and the demotic and other types of writing. And as you read them, you could see. I go there because the first holy land ever spoken about where people paid pilgrimage, not to Mecca, not to Jerusalem, not to Bethlehem. They used to go to Abydos. The first place on record where people went to a holy land, an area they called the Holy Land. Abydos, Abydos. When you go to Luxor, we take a bus and we go over to Abydos and to Dendera to see the temple of Setai I, the father of Ramesses II. And there we also see in the back, it's now flooded because of the rise of the Nile water caused by the creation of Lake Nasser. So we can't go in there anymore as we used to. Now they're trying to find a way to drain off the water so we can go back into that area to see where the ancient people first thought heaven was, other than the heaven of the woman. For those of you who are still talking about heaven in that context, remember, until the Nicene Conference of Bishops, ask your minister. Before the Nicene Conference of Bishops in 312-24, ordered by Constantine, the Roman emperor, Jesus was said to be born in a cave in Ethiopia. I go back to see where the teachings came from. It was at the Nicene Conference when the Romans took over that they shifted to a manger in Bethlehem. I think you better check and read your lost books. They're not lost. They are suppressed. If I give you a book with 18 chapters missing, you're going to say, Ben, this ain't a whole book. What happened to the others? How come you don't ask what happened to the other books in your Bible? Ask your ministers, why are you teaching with a half a Bible? Ask him, which they call the canonical works, and those they took out, they call the non-canonical works. Oh, aren't you interested why they took out the book of genealogy? You don't interest because you said a nigger ain't shit. You just said it this morning. Any black person mess with you, you said that's why a nigger ain't shit, man. That's why you don't worry about the book of genealogy, because the book of genealogy is describing a nigger Christ. Hair like lambwood and skin like the soot of the chimney. You don't see no white soot. But you can't get the new book because you don't want it said. Because if you go to church and see a black Christ, you're going to get diarrhea. You're going to faint. Huh? And when you read the book of Mary, where she had James the Lesser, the older brother of Jesus, at 13 and Jesus at 26, you're going to get double diarrhea. You're going to get guava or something to cock you up because you'll be going so fast. Go. The Catholic try to put back the books, call it the Apocrypha, after edited out what they didn't want. But you know nothing about it. Because you don't go down the Nile. You don't go down the Nile to see where it started. You haven't gone to the temple of Aset, otherwise called Isis, at the island of Philae, Angelica. That's the original name for that island. You haven't seen the story where it all started. You haven't seen Isis. The story of Isis when she takes the 14 pieces of her husband that was cut up by his brother Set-Typhon. Long before the Cain and Abel story, there was the story of Set-Typhon who murdered his brother Osiris 4,000 years before the Cain and Abel story. And Isis, who became pregnant at the time when her husband was killed and went out to find the 14 pieces but couldn't find one piece because the Nile catfish had already eaten his penis symbolically. And when she built the obelisk, which your steeple is a copy of, your Washington Memorial is a copy, nothing but George Washington Peters you go there and look at. Symbol, go watch it and see what it's copied from. Go to Rome and see those obelisks which they took from Egypt and put up in Rome and then put cross on top of those obelisks. It got nothing to do with the cross. But you don't want this because you said, ain't nothing but the King James Bible. Every dot, every T, every I, that is the word of the Lord. And you damn lie, because the King James Version is the word of Sir Francis Bacon. Sir Francis Bacon was authorized by James of England to write a book, a Bible to suit England. When he and the Pope had it out, the Pope, he wanted some extra women, and the Pope said, no, the Pope ain't no number, no damn woman. So you were saying no. James knew women were good, but the Pope ain't supposed to know. He think faggots are good. He ain't know nothing about it. And he told James he couldn't have no extra woman. And James told him, you're the boss in Rome, and I'm the boss in England. I'm going to have a Bible for myself. And James got Sir Francis Bacon, a friend, an associate of the one Shakespeare, thank you. They're arguing up to now who wrote the work, Shakespeare or Bacon. Bacon was ordered, but Bacon took 47 men from Cambridge, University of Cambridge, University of Glasgow in Scotland, University of Eton, and the University of Oxford. And those 47 men wrote their own Bible, copying the book, the Gutenberg Bible, established by Martin Luther, who had broken away from the church with the Edict of Eads, of Worms, the Edict of Worms in the 16th century. And they wrote a book for England. He published it in 1611. How come you don't know nothing about anything you read and anything you got as your guide? You know nothing about the history of how it got there. But you follow it, you're born again. You this and that and the other thing. It's sad how we get hooked by the same damn thing. We got hooked the other night in Madison Square Garden. You went to hear an economic plan, but all you got was a lesson in Islam. I don't give a damn who don't like it. Because there ain't no white people in here. I'm talking to black people. I ain't going to say this outside where white people can hear it. But it's time that we deal with each other in the doors, inside. For those of you mad with Betty, I want to ask any one of you, have you ever had a husband murdered while you were pregnant with twin girls? And that you had 4 other girls there sitting down, and a sucker come and brag about the fact that he could help to kill your husband? And your husband was fighting for black folks, died and didn't leave $1 go to bury him because he believed in black folks so much? Have you ever been a woman, had that pain, that crying to have your man and then you have money to even put him in the ground? Then you got to go up to Juanita's house in the Portier White House where people got to feed you and you got nothing to eat. You don't know where your next meal, you don't got a place to stay, and you got pregnant with 2 because you had planned to tell your man on his birthday the surprise that you were pregnant again. Then all of you who condemn her, then put yourself in her position. Coretta King got all kind of millions. How much did you send to Betty? Did you go to Congress to ask for a day for her man? And you want to keep quiet? No way. Talk your ass off, Betty. Talk. I know you shout by my words, but I speak the language of the people. I ain't speaking that damn nonsense they taught me in college. I've never been an Englishman. English ain't my language. I do the best I can with the damn nonsense. PhD got a lot of you fooling. Did you see my latest book? You didn't see my little book that I wrote the other day. They in Philadelphia worrying if I got a PhD. Bunch of black folks in Philadelphia at a convention reading my books and worrying if I got a PhD. Following my books and worrying if I got the crackers endorsement. I got 2 pieces of that piece of shit. I got 2 pieces of it. They're worrying about past participles and all that damn thing while my people suffering, your people getting killed in South Africa, and worrying if I got a PhD. If I have none, won't you give me more credit? I'm teaching the PhDs in the university. Then give me credit. I'm teaching with a 1. So I wrote a little position paper for them so they don't have to worry no more. Give them all the facts about a PhD where they could go and find a goddamn piece of goat skin and tell them go to hell with theirs and stick it up in their mama while they're worrying about whether I got PhD. Nobody worrying if the facts, if I validate my evidence, if I give them sufficient evidence that they could go and check me out. Nobody worrying about that. They worry about A.J. Rogers. Did he have a PhD? A.J. didn't need no PhD. What he wrote, they're following. I ain't nobody worrying if Jesus had a PhD. If Moses had a PhD, and they follow every day. They ain't worried about them Greek garbage. If Aristotle and Plato and all them suckers had PhDs. No. They're worrying about a black man who got shot defending them twice. They're worrying if I got a PhD. I ain't got no PhD, okay, if it's that satisfy you, but I damn sure supported my children and adopted more to support. And I'm still supporting black women, so supporting the whole school system in Nubia. What are they supporting other than white woman draws? But I'm not surprised about it all. I'm not surprised because the thing that made Malcolm the Black shining, man, that Ozzie Davis spoke about, is the things that these people who question don't understand. My father never had a degree. He was a lawyer. He went to what they call an inn. Under other lawyers in those days, lawyers didn't have PhD. They went to an inn and studied with other lawyers. And I was quite satisfied he was good. My mother never had a PhD, but she brought more babies in this world than they got cells. She was a midwife. She had no PhD. All right? And I'm the proud son of my grandfather who couldn't read and write, but saw to it that my daddy go to an inn. And my great-granddaddy, I don't think he could read and write. But he raised 63 children. My grandfather, my father's father, supported 11 wives and 61 children. My father is the oldest of 61 brothers and sisters. And he missed a day's support of none of them. He had no PhD, but he was a man. I see these suckers run around with a PhD. They got to carry them to court every day to get a dime for their child. They don't eat watermelon anymore. Not in public, no candy sweet or colored greens. Because PhD don't do that. They have birds and salmon, raw salmon and gefilte fish and all that kind of stuff. Because PhDs can't eat black people's food anymore. No, they got to eat lettuce juice and sunflower jawbones and meat will massacre them. So they eat that health food. The other day I went to health food and looked at the person selling the health food. I said, oh God, oh no, no. Leave me alone. I don't want to look like that. Turn away from the health food and went and eat me a pork chop. Ooh, that pork chop was good. That sister was big. I want to learn to eat chitlin so bad. Because I know it got to be good. Too many sisters and brothers eating chitlin. Got to be good. People fight to get chitlin. It got to be good. I know you all mad, but I've been eating pork and still fighting white folks. You ain't eat no pork. How many white folks you fought? Except when you're with us. Well, how many fought you over there? How many times you got fired from a white school for saying what you got to say? And I've been still eating the pork chop. Eating the pork chop and still ready to kill the Arabs, still ready to kill the Europeans, and got enough sense left to know that when those two crackers and Peckerwoods met in Switzerland the other day, talking about they're going to have peace in the world, they believe they are the world. I got sense enough to know that neither that cracker calling himself a Marxist or a communist, and the other cracker calling himself a capitalist or a Democrat, that neither of those two sick bastards had me in mind. They were discussing that both of them rule the world, or at least one of them. They weren't thinking of nothing black. And that goes for the prostitute wife of both of them, who will sell their body for anything. I know I'm messing with your president. Brother told me the other day, man, Ben, did you read where our founding father said? I said, oh, who? Kwame Kruger said, talking again, I thought he died. The founding father. George Washington and the other one that raided all of the slave farms, Thomas Jefferson. Our founding father said, me, man, I ain't got no founding father. Thanksgiving is coming. All of you got your bird ready. I wish the damn thing poisoned you. You're going to celebrate the extermination of the Indians for their land. The Indians saved this cracker from dying, from starvation. Then he's celebrating the extermination of the cracker, and you join with him. And when you run away from him, you were able to go to the Indians. Go to Long Island and look at the reservation over there, and look at the people. Look at yourself, what happened to them. So many of you went there and hide among them that they turned to you now. Look at the Seminoles. Look at the Chippendales. Look at all of them. That's where you used to run. But you came back and killed them with the name Buffalo Soldier. And you going around bragging about the Buffalo Soldier were black hero, the black piece of shit. Christmas Adams and the Buffalo Soldier were nothing. You want to talk about somebody, then let's talk about Denmark Vesey and Nat Turner, Henry Highland Garnett. That's why I go back to the Nile, to understand myself. To understand that them 2 pieces of garbage they gave me called PhD don't mean nothing to me. It's only I use them as a way to get more money from white folks. That's the way I use them. That's all I use them for. I know that the worst thing that ever gave me was PhD. It was to make me believe that this 3-piece suit and this tie, piece of garbage, and the car that I drive and the little boat in the basin and the condominium was supposed to make me different than you. Was to make me different than my grandma and my grandpa, because they said we is, us ain't. And I'm supposed to be so glad that I don't split the past participle. The PhD certified that I know how not to split the past participle or deal with the possessive noun. You understand? And so it tells me that I'm supposed to come out and say, what is rather wrong? I heard a sucker the other day talking about extricate the quadruple and come at me for compensation. The sucker could have said, take the 4-legged animal out the cart and come and I'll pay you. He could have said that. Don't tell me what extricate. PhD, that did that for him. Hello, this is Dr. Ben-Jochannan. This is Ben, that's me. You understand? Oh no, that PhD man who get that day, and all of a sudden you see nothing but rainbow, like Jesse Jackson. Rainbow coalition. I'm not the coalition with no goddamn cracker. Poor people and blacks. That said that I'm not poor because I'm black. Man, Jesse made me feel so sick. I was in Egypt coming back, and I saw there on the radio that Jesse was kneeling, but I wasn't surprised the minister. Jesse's kneeling to the Jews, the white ones. If I have wronged you in any way, it is not of the heart. The jackass doesn't know heart, don't wrong anybody. The heart does nothing but pump blood. That's all that muscle. It's the biggest piece of muscle in the human body, and the only function is to pump blood. Sister, don't love no man with your heart. That's why you got messed up. That's why you get them babies and no support. You love him with your heart. Love with your mind. That's what the mind does. Love or hate. And don't feel guilty if you hate crackers. God don't love crackers. Don't go around praying, God, I'm sorry, I got hate in my heart. What the hell is you going to have for a man to whip your ass all the time? Huh? If you ain't got no hate, you ain't normal. Every time walking around feeling guilty. What are you guilty for? Sisters going around feeling guilty, winding up in the crazy house. Oh, I had sex and I wasn't married. Lord, forgive me. Please, God, Jesus. Oh, Lord. Suppose you wait till you get married. All of you. Do you realize you won't have no sex in 2 million years? Based upon the way these brothers are going around here. Do you realize there are about 8 black women to every 1 black man? And if you wait for one to marry, you're never going to have sex? And if you live in Washington, D.C., there are 20 black sisters to every 1 black brother. You will never know what sex is, but it's a habit. You go get yourself some sex here, so you don't walk around crazy. I told my daughters, I had 8 daughters, and I told them, sisters, if I'm walking you down the aisle, and I find out that you never had sex with a man you're going to marry, I'm going to whip your ass right then and there. How the hell you going to go and marry a man for the the night, your best night when you're supposed to be relaxing, and you're talking about some virginity. You're supposed to be throwing your leg at left field, right field, and ain't worried about no pain. That's your big night. You get he ain't guilty, and he been screwing everything. He been practicing more than practice. He's a when he comes with a wedding night, he's a professional. All you got to do is go to the drugstore or go to the local gynecologist and be ready for Freddie. Get you something. You stay in there at 19. You think the way my daughters look, my daughters are nice looking little black sisters. It's a good thing I'm their daddy because they look nice. And I know when brothers looking at them, they looking. My daughters ain't twiggy. My daughter's full up here and they're full behind here. They're looking right. That's the way I supported and fed them to look right. And they're supposed to get what they're supposed to get. And I ain't going around running behind them in the middle of the night when they come on, go in the bathroom, I'm listening. Let me see if she's washing up. Damn pimp. No, we got a deal. That's why I go to Egypt to find out what it's all about. How the attitude of my ancestors about sex, childbearing and so forth, normal, healthy. Even the gods and goddesses had wives. Even the gods and goddesses produced offspring. Every one of the gods and goddesses had offsprings. I go there to understand. I go there to look at God Mim. They show God Mim with a penis so long that it turn up at the end in every temple and every column you go to. They got people here who went, ask them if I'm lying. The God Mim. They show God Mim penis not coming from his crotch, but coming out of his navel. And the extension of its umbilical cord, showing that the penis and the umbilical cord is one. It is the Father, it's the life giver. And they show the goddess. They show in one picture, they show God Geb and his knee, like one knee, one hand on the woman's vagina, and another hand on her breast. And you know what the caption says? God Mim, holding goddess Nut at the two corners of heaven. That's right. But you see, the European make us. The sister told me, the brother told me the other day, he's married to his woman 40 years and I've never seen her naked. She gets into the bed under the sheet and then pull off everything underneath the sheet. I said, man, I'll grab that sister and grab her, put her in the middle light and just look. What are you talking about? In a way, I'm going to see it the first day, the first night, I'm going to have a survey course. Look at that. Look at beauty. Woo. I'm going to get drunk looking at it. Because that's heaven. That's where I came from. My mother, my father, day, night, whatever it was, passed those sperms. You better learn. Get a book on biology and learn how you got here. It's some sperms, millions of them, that he let loose in my mother's fallopian tube. Right down. Past, he entered the labia majora, then the labia minora, right down into that tube. That went down and trapped. Because only one of us got me. I was the only one get here. All the others suffered. They died. Little me went into that ovum, crawled inside, drop off my tail. Showed it right. I had a tail. I had a little tail like a tadpole, and I went in there in that ovum, fertilized that ovum. And then Mama had just nothing but a little clot of blood in her. I became a little clot of blood. Then I became a clump of blood. And the blood started to take form. Then I finally looked like a seahorse. That's evolution that's going on. Mama started to. But Mama didn't do that. Mama's breast started to lactate. Milk started going there. That's the milk that you all don't want to give to your child. Oh, the child, I want to stay like Hollywood. That child is going to pull my breast out of shape. Your man sucking the breast all the time with that big jawbone. Ain't pulling it out of shape. But a little child with a little gristle jaw can pull it out of shape. And then the little child survive and come here. Huh? You're supposed to give the child the milk. You pumping it off, selling it. selling it so another woman could buy it, you pumping off your good milk. Because you want the child to nurse on your breast. And the handful of you that nursing, you got a big cloth over the child trying to stuff and stifle to death because you scared man gonna see your breast. But when you going out to a dance, you got on a brassiere that only touching your nipple and a big white thing. And you contradictions of the contradictions. And want to know why the child is always crying and mad. Look at the mother that hold her child up there and breastfeed that child, and how that child laying there and sleep. And look at the one that you put on the pillow with a bottle and walk off and leave the child and the pillow get out. See, when you put the breast in there, the child will fight back and find that breast. Ain't no problem fight. But when that bottle rolls from the child, and the child is angry and angry day after day, and you want the child to be nice. I don't want my woman to take my breast, and I'm a man. Can you imagine when I was small? My mama didn't take no chance because as she pulled that breast, I said, give me that breast. Because I won't let daddy get no breast and I won't get mine. Belong to me before him. He get the residue. No, let us get down to earth because we've gotten away from nature so damn much. Worrying about food. But we ain't worrying about food from a woman's breast. We ain't worrying about feeding the woman and giving her the right thing to eat so that she could have good milk for her child. We're shoving drugs down her all the time. She's smoking up a breeze and carrying a baby, puffing the smoke in the other little baby's face. Smoking ganja, marijuana, and telling me that, how are you going to get a good child like that? First of all, she needs the food. The sucker is gone. I can understand it. She's frustrated, so she's doing all these things. And brothers, you get mad as you want. Ask how many women ever lied to a man the first time. And ask how many men ever lied to a woman the first time. You tell her you love her. I'm going to do the best for you until she gives you the first piece. Then you ain't want her no more because you want a virgin to marry. But who make a non-virgin? You did. Huh? So now she mad with me, who ain't mistreat her. But she got to be mad with somebody. Brother's been lying, one brother lied, and then you go in the welfare department, she comes to look for child. She got 4 kids with 4 different last names, and you call her bitch. The same as you call your daughter, who had the first night your daughter go to bed with a man, she was unlucky and she got pregnant. First night. Your son been screwing everything in the block, night after night. You call the daughter bitch, whore, slut, get your ass out of here. One night. You ask why the brothers treat sisters like they do, because you don't talk to your son. It's all right for your son to screw up the block. When you got a girl pregnant, say, you call the neighbor, you call your sister. Look, Freddie got so pregnant, that boy's strong. You just call your daughter a harlot and a bitch and a whore and kick out the house. Because she got pregnant. And Mrs. Jane, what Miss Jane gonna say when she see you pregnant? Miss Jane wasn't pregnant because she was lucky. That's what she's going to say. What could she say? She didn't know what her daughter was doing out there. But you ain't told your son. You ain't tell your son to buy some Ramesses if he wants some fun and he ain't got no job and he ain't got no money. Yeah, have some fun up at college. You're big enough to be at college. You're big enough to have sex. But you're big enough to take care of the sister. Make sure that she didn't get pregnant. You could take a Ramesses, and if you run out of Ramesses, masturbate. Shit. If you can't wait a day. And she like a fool. I'm going to quit you if you don't give it to me. Let him quit. Shit, you ain't want to sucker like that. And then don't go in no backseat in no car to get gas up in your stomach. I told my daughter, I got to talk to you because it's going on too much. I told my daughters if the sucker can't pay for wall-to-wall carpet, room service, he gets nothing. Nothing. This is it. Talk to your sons. Get your sons on the side. Give him his first pack of Ramesses. Talk to your young daughters. When your daughter have her first menstrual period, don't you tell her no damn nonsense about you're sick and all this. Call her to you and sit down. Bring your family because it's a sign of her womanhood. Bring the family. Have a party at the house with the family. Let her know this is a joyful occasion. It's the day that you prove now that this is all proving that you're capable of being a mother. You're come to the point of motherhood. You don't have to beat her, but you could correct her still because a lot of things she used to know. Let her sit down and ask you all about sex. Explain it to her. Give her a present. Make her feel good. Let her know that if you got cramp because of that, and you got pain and you're rich with pain, and somebody asks you what happened, say, I got menstrual cramps. That's what I got. You ain't got nothing else. And if they don't like it, that's the half. Let them get the cramps for you. Don't tell your daughter she's sick and that's the punishment God give a woman. I hear that nonsense too damn much. Make her feel guilty, and she can't even let her own mother or her brother or her sister know that she has menstrual cramp. And that's nature taking care of itself, purifying itself for the possibility of pregnancy. Why are we going to stop and go back to our old ancient training when our mothers used to have the baby in the house, in the living room, and all the children gather around, daddy gather around the family, and birth was a family affair, a glorious occasion. The smallest a child was there when the little brother or sister born. Turn it over to the big girl to take care of, so that mama could get up, clean herself up, and go on. Isn't it glorious? That's where we came from, that past. But now, birth itself is a shame. People are scared. The man can't even go in to see his woman being examined by a doctor. He got to stay outside. I told the doctor, you examining my woman? That's my woman. That's my hole you touching, and I'm going to be there when you examine it. And I told my woman, you come in. When the urologist going to take anything dealing with me, you can walk right in. It's yours. I'm going to see what I want. You're going to see what. And so he talked to both of us. So I could help you and you could help me. So we know what's the problem. The hell you going to tell me I sleep in the bedroom, I can't come in because she's being examined. And I may have been the cause why she got to be examined. No, I go down the Nile and to see those temples, to see the way our ancestors did it, to see the values that our ancestors put, and to mold my life. It's not just to see. It's not just to look and read. It is to assimilate, to try to mold my lifestyle. I don't hit a black woman yet. 68 years old the last day this next month, and I've never hit a black woman. I've spanked a black girl, little child, but I don't hit a black woman. Black woman ain't a drum. I hit something, I'll buy a drum. Or I hit this damn thing. But I don't hit a black woman, because any woman I sleep in bed with, I must think a lot. I don't sleep with nothing I don't walk with. If I sleep with you, I can walk with you next day. I ain't going to sleep with you if I'm scared for people to see me walking with you. Because if you talk to me, I ain't going to answer. Then if you're sleeping with her and you love her and you don't care people seeing, then you could marry her, whether she's pregnant or not. Sister, don't sleep with no man, ain't gonna take your family. Man come to you, you got 5 kids. You ain't gonna tell him you got 5 kids. If you want to take you up, want to take all your kids too. It's a package deal. You get me, you get the kids too. You don't want it, march your ass off. That's it. It's about time that you protect yourself. This thing that's going on that you gotta go to welfare every damn time you get a child for help should got to stop by you. You got to put your foot down. We don't need no woman liberation movement for that. Black women have always been liberated. We always have to work. Huh? Stand up and make your child, tell your man child how he has to behave to the next door neighbor's woman child. And half of it will go on. Make it so that when your woman child see my man child, she run to him in the middle of the night. I'm so glad I see you. It's so dark out here. How is it now? She see my man child coming a mile and she run the other way. Scared that she gonna meet that man child because he gonna rape her, throw his grandma off the roof. Let's deal with it, brothers. Let's talk to our man child. Let him understand that he's killing off the race. When his woman can't walk because she's afraid. When a woman can't be in the house because every time the door rattles, it's not the wind or the window rattle. It's the man-child coming through the window to take whatever she had, to kill her. Show me how you treat your aged and your woman, and I tell you the condition of your race. No way a black woman should be afraid of me. I'm coming down the street and it's raining cats and dogs, and I see that black woman. Come in, sister. Drive up. This is where you live? Yeah, bye-bye. But you didn't ask you my name. I don't need to know your name. You tell her, come on in. The second thing you say, can I get some tonight? I wish you had the claps and give you some. Every time you do something for a sister, she got to give you. Take her to the movie, you want to get in her drawers. Show her some respect. If she wants you to get there, you're going to get there. She'll run away from you coming to you. You treat her like a woman. Treat her like you treat your mama. Some of us don't even treat our mama right. That's why we treat her right, like that. This is it, my brothers. I go to the Nile to look at how my man, that black brother, put that woman top shelf on the ceiling. He showed her in the tomb of Ramesses VI. He showed her 1 foot coming down on the side, her body with stars. He showed her body as the heaven, and her head coming down on the other side, both ways. And when he died in his coffin, and he looked up, all he's looking up is to that sister. Show her as heaven. No, I'm going to end, but yeah, that's why I go to the Nile all the time. And I go to the Nile, and there are many sisters in the group. I make jokes about boyfriend, girlfriend. There isn't a sister with the hundreds of times that I've carried could say that I was fresh with her. I ain't carrying her to the Nile to go to bed with her. I'm carrying her to the Nile to see, so she could talk to her man child. And so I could respect her man. When I want a woman, that ain't the way my approach. I'm a man and I want, but there's a decent manner in which I approach my black woman. I ain't going to no whole house. Brother says, I can't find a good black woman. Brother, you look in the whole house? I ain't have no trouble. My problem is I find too many good black women, and I ain't got strength to deal with all of them. Where are you looking for a good black woman? Look around here. You got all kind of, some of these sisters ain't seen a decent man in years. So they're available with the right approach. Take her out, bring her home. You ain't got to kiss her good night. You in charge of kisses? Say the good night. It was so nice of you to think. Take her about 10 times. Take her to dinner. Bring her back home. Don't ask for no kiss. You don't need none. Why? Then you don't call on the 11th night. Don't call that week. Don't call the next week. And the sister gonna say, what happened to that nice man? And you're sitting down and you hear, who is this? It's Martha. I was wondering what happened to you. You know she cares. She cares. And so, well, Martha, darling, you know, I know that, you know, you're there by yourself and I'm by myself. And I was getting a little excited about being around you, and I didn't want to be rude. Didn't want to disrespect you. So I felt that rather than disrespect you, I stay away. But you don't have to stay away. Well, brothers, young brothers, this is just nothing but age. And wisdom don't come to the young. You see, when I was young, had I known this, I could have saved a lot of wasted strength. But you see, wisdom don't go with the young. Now I'm old and got the wisdom, I ain't got the strength. But treat her good, brother. Treat her good, and she will lay down and let you walk on her so your foot don't hit the mud. Treat her good and she'll do anything for you. Because she's just waiting to be treated good again. It isn't that she has never been treated good, but it's been so long. You know, touch her like she's satin, like she's silk. Stroke her so that the velvet could shine. You understand, brother? And then, I know you understand? That's why I go to the Nile. I go to read Akhenaten. Akhenaten's voices on treatment of the woman. Oh yeah, we had writers who wrote 4,000 or 5,000 years ago and how to treat a woman, an African woman. And that's why I go to the Nile constantly, to be rejuvenated with the ancestry, the wiseness of my ancestors. I can't go nowhere else because I need time, I need antiquity, I need to see when as far back, and there's only one place to go to places where for hundreds of thousands of our ancestors, to go to the southern tip of Africa. When that frees itself again, I'm going back to see what the Grimaldis wrote in their tombs. You could go to the museum there at Central Park West in what is called the Hall of Man in Africa and see what your ancestors wrote 35,000 years ago on rocks, the Grimaldi. That's why I say, I am a proud black man. I got no reason to hang my head in shame. Yes, I was enslaved. Oh yeah. But I didn't start in slavery. Why did they enslave me? For what I had. They didn't enslave me for nothing. They enslaved me for what I had and what is still mine. When I go into the museum, do you know, suppose they would give back to Africa what they took from Africa, there would be nothing to see in the museum. Francis Wellington said it so good that when they lynch a black man, one of the things they must do is to destroy his testicles. Every time they lynch a black man, they destroy his testicles. Dr. Richard King, who continues it on in his Melanin Development, speaking, and says, they are so mad with color. They go everywhere in the world, sun tanning, lamps in the house, trying to get color. We got it and ashamed of it. We look in the mirror and say, oh God, look at that. I like them jet black ones, that's our blondes. Them jet black one, man, you can't make no mistake. When I'm up at Cornell and they get a wine and cheese party, I go down in Ithaca and get me a sister look like Coal Plus. Go up there. I'm holding the sister. I say, no, you do what I tell you. If you're going to do it, don't come with me, because you're my queen today. And I go there and the cracker said, can I dance? I said, no, sorry. My woman don't dance with nobody but me. This is black beauty. This skin is too sweet and too soft to be touched by cracker hands. Put it on my face and put it there and, oh, feel it. Put it on top shelf. When I come back, I take it down. See, I leave my woman, I go, and when I come back, I say, come baby, come off there. Bring her down from top shelf. Stroke her. Put that velvety feeling. That's why I told my woman, when I come home, don't you look no pot cloth. Get on something negligee. Like something black lace. Tease it. When I hit the door, my mind is busted. Because I done with that with cracker all day long. I don't want no more like that. When I see you, I want to go back to heaven. Trick me. Do anything you want. Make me go out my mind. Because my woman told me, I'm going to end here. My woman told me I'm the head of the house. My woman told me, you're the boss of this house. I don't use the way you want. You're the natural for this house. My woman said, you're the ruler in this house. That's what my woman told me. She ain't nothing else she could tell me. My woman draw me some water for me to take my bath. Put a little, even her little soap, the bubble bath. For me to smell good. My woman go and put my food in the warmer. And then, that's midnight, I come home off the plane. She said, baby, if you want anything else, just call Mama. I feel a little better now. I'm there eating, sitting down. Get there, get in the bed, lying down, tired. She said, you feel good, husband? Everything's okay? Yeah. You're my man. You're the ruler. About an hour ago when she felt that I have a little relax, regain some of the strength. Just an accidental foot just hit me. Feel good. Baby, I saw a little green hat today. Now don't feel like you got to get it because I know things ain't right. You ain't got much money, and you know the children just so forth, and the grandchild spend the night. You ain't got that, plus you just come from the trip. And she says, now, also, while you're talking about that, you're thinking about it, there's a nice little dress, little green dress that go right with it too. And she says, but you don't need to get it. And then she just rocked me with chest. You don't need to get it now. Boom, bam, boom. In the morning I wake up, I said, baby, about the little hat that you were talking about and the dress, ain't there shoes and pocketbooks? I go Sister, don't mind a cracker woman. Run your man's bath, you hear? That's the woman that got her man still. Ain't taking away nothing from you. I run the house and my woman run me. She tell the children, I'm going to tell your father. You know so-and-so was doing this. And you know only you could take care of this. I tried, but only you.
Hey, boy, what you doing to your mother?
Big bad me. And she still tell me what I could wear, what don't look good on me. I mean, she sent me out in the street, even dressed me, and I'm the boss. Take all my money, but I'm the boss. Sis, go back to it here. Flatter your man. Because after he finished that hard day, he needs somebody to tell him he's a man. Everybody else is knocking down his manhood. Don't do the last piece because he's going to walk through the door. Make him feel that he is really a man, the man. And you're going to keep him a long time. Understand? So all I got to say to you brothers and sisters, all I got to end by saying, it feels so good to be made by a black man and given birth by a black woman. God, it feels good to be black. Thank you.
Dr. Ben.